Kalle, this is Saturday morning. We're in the Maritime Hotel in Stuttgart. We've got the big, call it a comeback fight for David Price tonight on the undercard. Well, it's really an undercard fight for him for the first time in a while against on the same bill as Huck-Arslan rematch.
Yeah.
Wanted to go. Well, get your thoughts on that event first, because it's current.
Yeah, I mean it's a big event. If I look at all the fights, I mean there's 7 fights. They're all of meaning for us. For Price, it's a big night. Just in terms of getting him back in the ring, wouldn't really call it a comeback. I'd say it's more of a it's a rebuild and regroup. He's got a new team around him, and it's exciting times. It's for David. It's going to be a big year.
Can you tell us about is this the third guy they've got that you've got for him now? What can you tell us about the other 2 and why they were cancelled?
Well, the first one was let's say chosen when he was with Adam. They had their reasons for choosing him. Orlov is he's a very big fella, and it doesn't make for the most interesting boxing. But I think there was good sound reasons for choosing him at the time. Under the new trainer, they didn't want that type of a fight. They wanted a guy where they can gain some confidence from. I think Orlov would have been the same, but obviously different in terms of the physical aspects. Irish, unfortunately, failed a medical for reasons I'm not going to get into, but he failed a medical on Thursday.
What was that he failed on? What part of his body?
Let's just say it was a medical condition that and that's the only thing I can reveal on that at the moment. So we had to pull him, and it's not a good situation to be in on a Thursday afternoon. And David was almost on the way to the airport, and we managed to get the guy who was anyways boxing on the card, so we know he's in fighting fit shape. Heavyweights, if you call him in last minute, heavyweights aren't always looking for a gym if they're not looking for a fight. So it was a case of getting someone who was fighting fit. We've got that, and we're happy with that. And I hope the whole here and there hasn't confused David's mind too much, and he'll be on form tonight.
He's expected to win, isn't he?
He's expected to win and to look good, for sure. And it's never a nice position, because you're still talking about a 100+ kilo guy he's got to put away. Must never forget that with heavyweight boxing. And in heavyweight boxing, as many people have found out, one punch changes everything. But we're very confident tonight, and it's a small step of many steps to go to the goal, and that's the heavyweight championship. And I don't think there's a fighter, an active fighter, who carries a bigger punch than David Price in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's no question about that he can punch. The questions were only asked over his ability to take one.
Yeah, I mean, I read a lot about the chin. I'm baffled by that, because there wasn't a punch to the chin. There were several punches to the chin when he caught him in the corner, but it was 20-25 punches he landed to the chin, and he didn't go down from him. So it's definitely not the chin. I think I wasn't around him at the time. I think it was a lot to do with the pressure of a rematch. The first fight, no doubt about it, he got clipped to the back of the head. His balance went, fight over. That happens at heavyweight. The direct rematch, he was of course under immense pressure. He brought in Lennox, who's was his idol, who's of course one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And to work around that, I think he put himself under a lot of pressure, and you saw the energy drain out of his body. I mean, he had Thompson gone, and instead of sitting back, he went for him, and it was a gamble that didn't pay off, and you saw the stamina sap from his body second for second in that fight. And it's one of those things he'll learn from, and rather at this stage of his career than later in his career.
You're quite close to him, so do you feel he's changed? He's a bit more confident now, and is he enjoying boxing again? Yeah,
I mean, he seems very confident. He's working with a mind coach, which I think is a great development. I think more fighters need to look at that. It is happening. But if you look at other sports, it's obviously used a lot more, and I think boxing is a component sport. There's whether it's stamina, power, speed, skill, but the mental aspect is a huge aspect in boxing. And I think that's a good decision as well, and he's in a good place at the moment, Dave.
Is it true that you had any influence over his leaving Adam Booth? Because when we last spoke, you said that he was with Booth, you were happy there, and he was quite happy about it.
No, I mean, it's something I don't get involved in the training stuff. I mean, David came to me and asked, who would you put down as a replacement? And he mentioned some names, but Tommy Brooks was one of them. I said, I'm not going to advise you on that. I can give you a list of decent names, but at the end of the day, the trainer-boxer relationship is a very special one. I'm not in the gym, sweating blood with a guy that's shouting at me. That's his job, and that bond has got to be the right bond. And but in terms of Adam and David splitting, no, we didn't have any involvement there. There was a matter between the two of them.
Okay. David's only one of the fights that's on the bill tonight. What time is it starting, by the way? Just...
The bill starts at 6:20 local time, so 5:20 UK time, and it's live in a lot of countries. We're happy. Last night we announced it's on ESPN in the States as well, ESPN3. So it's good, it's great exposure, and it's a big night. We sold out here. With close to 12,000 fans in the venue tonight. It's going to be one hot atmosphere, and apart from Pricey, we've got two guys, Culling and Zeuger, two young German guys, Tyra and Zeuger, even doing who are fighting for junior world title. I know these are small titles, but they're the first step on a way up, and that's very good for German boxing. Obviously, there's Jack Kulkai as well, is one that a lot of people are talking about. But these two guys as well, they're big hopes here. Marcus Nader, he's obviously not a puncher if you look at his record, but he's a very, very sound fighter, and that'll be an interesting fight tonight. It's definitely a fight for people who like watching boxing styles, because he's got a style which is very impressive, technically.
Yeah. He beat the Spanish guy for the belt, and beat Dominic Bridge, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he drew with him first time, didn't he? And then he beat him the second time.
Yeah.
So he's had a couple of quite testing
He's
fights.
had some testing fights against Santos was a kid, and he was a bit unlucky to get a draw in the first fight and then beat him in the second fight. It's a nice European scrap, and a lot of people are saying, well, why don't we do Bridge versus Nada if that pulls off? And it's a nice little domestic scrap here as well. On the other side, we've of course got the big one, the main event, which is around 11 o'clock local time. And
I'll wait for that. There's a lot of support for. I saw a little bit of sneaky yesterday.
Yeah, I mean he obviously he's very close with Huck-Arslan. It's captured the imagination here, and I always say. Boxing, of course, it's about titles, of course, it's about big fights, but at the end of the day, you've got to capture the public's imagination with it, and this fight has done that. It's split Germany down the middle. You've got people who said, oh, well, Arslan won the first fight, others say Huck won the first fight. I still say to this day, I personally had it for Huck a couple of rounds, but you could give it the other way. It was that close, and I struggled. Yeah, it totally surprised him, and I struggled to see tonight being anything but close again. Simply because Arslan's he's going to leave everything in that ring. He's going to leave everything in that ring, and there's, you see their styles blend well. They're definitely for us as the viewers. They're going to be it's going to be madness in there, and I'm looking forward to that. And I think Marco, he'll want to win clear tonight, because he wants to put this chapter to bed, so to speak, and move on to other things. And for Arslan, 43 years old, but look at the condition of this guy, I mean, when I looked at him first, I thought, this is just abnormal, and you mustn't forget, people who sometimes question him, we have in Germany, we are the only promoters to use in training testing, so out of competition testing. So they've been tested all the way through training camps. He is what he is. This guy is a genetic wonder, right? Because when you see him, he's a body which I think most 20-year-olds would dream of, and he's got the stamina, and he just comes forward like a tank. And the blend of him against Marco, who's this, we all know what Marco Huck does in a ring, but it's two warriors colliding here tonight.
Marco's improved since the last fight, anyway.
He he stepped up a level against Afolabi in the last one, because I mean Afolabi is a top cruiserweight, you know, and he won that fight so convincingly, and you know, after the first two, which were close fights and tough fights, he really did a job on Afolabi in the last fight, and he stepped up a level there, you know. And I think there was a lot of commotions also between us, you know. Me and Marco had a bit of a falling out, and there was the whole purse bid situation with Don King, and you know, I just said to him, Marco, it's time to get serious here. Yeah, you're 28 at the time, and he's 29 now, but it's time to get serious about your career, you know. And he's got such an immense natural physical talent, you know, and he seemed to listen and put those words into effect, and he got his head down, and he's got his head down for this training camp. I've been told he's got rave reviews in training, so it's going to be. I'm buzzing. I mean, we've only got a few hours to go, but I'm very excited.